Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome to Inside Arsenal, where tonight we're going to be discussing Arsenal's 1-1 draw with PSV in the Champions League. The game is just finished over in Holland. Arsenal ending their group stage with a draw. And although we already knew they'd gone through as group winners, quite a nice way to round things off with a really tricky looking trip to Holland against a PSV side who have been absolutely flying this season. Domestically, especially, only defeat they've suffered was that defeat at the Emirates earlier in the season, earlier on in the group stages. And Arsenal, I thought, deserved a point today. Much changed Arsenal. 8 changes Mikel Arteta made from the team that lost against Villa at the weekend. Kai Havertz keeping his place. Saliba and Gabriel, both of the two centre-backs started. I have to say, I was surprised at that. And I was equally as surprised as the substitutes that came on in the second half, which I will talk about a little bit later on in this show. I'll be back tomorrow morning to discuss the game at far more length. We'll look at what Mikel Arteta's had to say tomorrow, get your views as well. So if you want to talk about anything, you want me to discuss anything in tomorrow's show, your opinions on tonight's match, what you may have seen, what you were happy with, what you were unhappy with, let me know in the comments below. But we'll start by chatting about what I said. It was actually quite a fun game. I wasn't sure what to expect. Look, both teams have gone through, obviously, before kickoff. It was the definition of a dead rubber. Of course, there was some things on the line. There was money at stake for the winners. I think 2.5 million people made a lot of that in the build-up to the game. But on the whole, it was a dead rubber. Both teams knew they had gone through. Both teams had higher priorities to worry about as we head towards the festive period. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but it was a pretty fun game. I enjoyed it. PSV, I thought, were good. They were very, very bright, especially going forward on the counter-attack. We saw that at times when Arsenal played them earlier on in the season at the game at the Emirates, when they maybe didn't take advantage of some good positions they got themselves into. It was a similar story at times tonight. They started very, very quickly. A brilliant bit of defending from Saliba and Gabriel to deny what looked like a certain goal after a really, really good break. Ended with Bakayoko, who was very, very impressive, I thought, over on the right-hand side for PSV. A real live wire. I think Nketiah would be delighted when he got substituted in the second half. He sent in a cross, and it just looked like it was going to be a tap-in for the PSV attacker who was racing into the box on the end of the counter-attack. But Saliba made a brilliant tackle to deny him, and then the ball broke back to another player who looked at certain goal, and somehow Gabriel managed to block it and deflect it over for a corner kick. And that kind of set the tone for a really bright start from PSV. But as the half wore on, I thought Arsenal got more of a foothold in the game. I thought Jorginho is really crucial to that. I think he helped Arsenal get a fair bit of control. Mohamed El-Neni as well, I thought was pretty bright in the centre of midfield for Arsenal, especially given it was his first start of the season. And Arsenal slowly started to get a foothold in the game. PSV always had that threat on the counter-attack. That never went away, really, for the entirety of the game. But Arsenal began to control the first half, I thought, as it went on. And then they got themselves the goal. And it was a really, really good goal as well from Eddie Nketiah. It was a strange night for Nketiah. I think it was a frustrating night on the whole for him. Largely, he was quite isolated at times. He had to play with his back to goal a lot of the times. But this was a really excellent goal by Nketiah. Reece Nelson, who was Arsenal's bright spark throughout the game, he had a really good game. Reece Nelson combined well with Cedric Suarez down the right-hand side, drove towards the box, played the ball in to Eddie Nketiah, but Nketiah still had a lot to do. The touch was excellent, worked it out, worked a little bit of space, got it onto his left foot, and then the left foot finish, excellent. Drove it through the defender's legs, in off the post. 1-0 to Arsenal. Eddie Nketiah's first Champions League goal, which you can imagine was a big, big moment for him. His 6th goal of the season in all competitions. And it was a lead that Arsenal took into the break. And I thought they went into the break in control of the game. PSV came out and got a goal early on in the second half. Disappointing one for Arsenal to concede. Saliba sort of dived in to try and make an interception, got it wrong. Ball went past him, and PSV broke away and scored. Cedric Suarez was kind of out of position. I don't think he was expecting Saliba to miss the ball. And PSV just broke. It was a brilliant goal, brilliant finish, 2 excellent finishes in the game. But I think from an Arsenal defensive point of view, it was an odd goal to concede from Saliba's mistake. And then the space that PSV were allowed down their left-hand side, but it was a brilliant finish. Take nothing away from that. It was 1-1 at that point, and didn't quite know how it was all going to pan out. Both teams had chances to win it. Leandro Trossard really, really close, right, basically the last kick of the game, 6 minutes into a stoppage time, went through, nice little touch to work himself a one-on-one opportunity, but the keeper saved it. There was a few other opportunities. PSV hit the post as well with one shot that was deflected by Declan Rice, who came on as centre-back in the second half. Guy had a shot, deflected off Rice, and Aaron Ramsdale, actually, it was a really nice little touch from Ramsdale to deflect it onto the post. So both teams could have won it. I don't think either team probably would have complained if the other team had won it. But on the whole, I think draw was a fair result. Certainly from an Arsenal point of view, interesting substitutions from Mikel Arteta. I mean, interest is one word of describing it. Pretty mad is another way of describing it. Ben White, Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice, Gabriel Jesus all came on in that second half. Emil Smith-Rowe came on for a few minutes as well, right at the end, which I don't know. I'll never understand those subs, I have to say. It doesn't surprise me. I said it in today's show. Nothing surprises me when it comes to Arteta. There's so many times we think he's got an opportunity to rotate players and rest players, and he doesn't take it. And to throw those players on with the game at 1-1 with just half an hour to go when nothing was riding on the match, it just felt like a real unnecessary risk. Fortunately, it looked like it was a risk that paid off. No one got injured or anything like that, but it was a really good opportunity to play it, to give at least a couple of the youngsters who went over there, your Real Walters, Lionel Sosa, Ethan Ranieri, to chuck them on. I mean, what's Gabriel Jesus going to learn from coming on for the final 3 minutes? What's that going to mean to him at the end of tonight, coming on in the 87th minute? What would it mean to Ranieri or Real Walters to come on in the 87th minute? It would have meant everything. It would have been a Champions League debut. It would have been, all of that. And I just feel it was a missed opportunity for Mikel Arteta. I really, really did. I thought the subs were strange. I'm not sure, he really needed to do that. But look, he's a manager. We're not. I think a lot of you will probably agree with me on this, but I just thought it was a little bit odd from him. But not much more to say about that. Player ratings wise, look, Reece Nelson was the star of the show. He got the assist for Eddie Nketiah, and I just thought he played really, really well throughout the game. Reece Nelson, he really did. It was a bright performance from him, and one that he can be really happy with, I think, when he comes back on the plane home tonight. And there's been opportunities that we've kind of looked at and thought, can he play more? Can Reece Nelson get more opportunities? And Mikel Arteta hasn't really brought him on. I thought tonight he showed exactly what he can do. And like I said, he can be very, very proud of that performance. So player ratings wise, Aaron Ramsdale, I thought had a really good game, actually. Aaron Ramsdale, fair play to him. Arsenal kind of set up, it was interesting because he had Jorginho and El Neni playing. It was more of a 4-2-3-1 almost formation. I thought, or 4-2-1-2. If that does make sense. No, 4-3-4. What am I thinking of? What's that? How it was the way Arsenal used to play when you just had a complete number 10. So 4-2-3-1. Yeah, I was right the first time. I don't know what I'm doubting myself for. With that, with sort of Jorginho and El Neni playing as basically a double pivot, and then you had Kai Havertz playing more in the sort of number 10 role rather than the 8 role that we've seen from him at mainly since he's arrived at club this season. But anyway, I thought Aaron Ramsdale had a good game. He made one good save to deny Bakayoko in the first half. Like I said, that's save in the second half where he tipped the deflected shot onto the post, hurt his ankle early on, Aaron Ramsdale, but it didn't really seem to impact him. So I gave Ramsdale an 8. I thought he played well. Cedric, they got caught out for the equaliser. He did. I think he didn't expect Saliba to miss it, and he was caught up the pitch. He played his part in Eddie Nketiah's goal. I actually thought he played well in the first half, Cedric Suarez, especially given his lack of game time this season. So I'm going to give him a 7. Saliba, I gave a 7 as well. There's a couple of, like I said, for the goal, he'll be disappointed with that. He dived in thinking he could get there. He didn't, and that vacated the space, and PSV broke away from score. But he did make one excellent tackle early on to prevent what looked like a certain goal. I gave him a 7. Gabriel, I gave an 8. I thought he played really well, Gabriel. One error right towards the end, which allowed PSV to break clear. Fortunately, the guy screwed his shot wide and sort of a cross goal. But other than that, I thought Gabriel had a really strong performance. I gave him an 8. Kivior gave a 6. Didn't really offer anything going forward. Was given a very tough time by Bakayoko, who looked very, very exciting, I have to say. It's one to look out for. I think Bakayoko, only 20 years old. I think he's got something like 15 assists already this season for PSV. And he was a real handful. Got a good bag of tricks down that right-hand side. Looks a hell of a player. So I gave Kivior a 6. Jorginho and El Neni 7s each. Thought they were both fairly bright, neat and tidy. El Neni, I was quite impressed with his energy. Did go off with maybe a hamstring. Whether it was cramp or more of a hamstring, I don't know. Be a shame if it's a hamstring. But I thought he played well up to that point. Gave him a 7. Havertz, I thought worked really hard. His defensive work was excellent. And showed a bit of, showed real intensity. I thought he had a good game, Havertz, without really threatening. I gave him a 7. Reece Nelson, as I said, my man of the match, just impressive. Set up the goal. Always looked a threat when he was on the ball. Got some stats here from Reece. It was 69 touches, 12 duels won, the most on the pitch, 8 possession won, 5 take-ons, the joint most on the pitch, 4 tackles made, most on the pitch, 3 touches in the opposition box, 2 chances created, 1 assist. So stats are coming from Squawker, and just sum up what was a really, really good night for Emil Smith Rowe. Emil Smith Rowe, sorry, Reece Nelson, and really happy to see Reece doing that. So fair play to him. Elsewhere, what do we got? So I'm just looking at them here. Yeah, Eddie Nketiah. It was a frustrating night, as I said, for a large chunk of it from Eddie, but I thought his goal was excellent and the way he took it was excellent. So fair play to him. I gave him a 7. Trossard on the fringes of things throughout the game, really. I would have liked to see him a little bit more central. He was often really out wide, hugging the touchline. Kind of like Martinelli style, when he's not really got the game for that. I'd much rather see him in the central areas like we did right at the end when he popped up with a really lovely turn to work that shooting chance, which he probably should have done better with. So I gave him a 6. In terms of the subs, look, Rice, Odegaard and White, I gave 6 each. Smith Rowe, Jesus came on right at the end, so I'm not going to give them a score, but it was great to see Jesus come on the pitch nonetheless. All right, that's it from today's just sort of on the whistle show. So thank you very much for watching. Like I said, if you want to get involved in tomorrow's show, where I'll be looking at things much more in depth, we'll look at what Mikel Arteta's had to say and start to look forward a little bit to the weekend's game as well. Let me know in the comments below. Until then, everyone, have a very good evening. I'll speak to you soon.